Good evening, and welcome to a scene from London Ascending Vampire. This evening, the Queen has been informed that an old friend has returned to the city and has requested a meeting. She is currently at the Ritz Hotel on Park Lane and is waiting in a very comfortable suite. When Camilla arrives, a member of the Queen's staff will meet her in the lobby and will escort her up to the penthouse suite, where she will be shown into a very lavish room in the sitting room of which the Queen will be um, reclining in a very comfortable armchair, looking slightly more informal than she usually would for a presentation. But as her and Camilla go way back, she's throwing aside the formalities, and it's more the welcoming of an old friend back to the city.
Camilla's dressed pretty much as she's dressed in the overlay. It's kind of it's modern clothing, but it has a Elizabethan or Tudor kind of style to it. It almost looks like a tunic, armor. She's carrying a white box as well as a rolled up letter, which has been sealed in wax, which Selina will recognise as the letter that she sent to Camilla requesting her to come back to London. Are there any humans around when I get into the penthouse?
There are two of what can be assumed are the Queen's ghouls standing at each side of the room. But when Camilla enters, the Queen will kind of shoo them off, make it very clear they're dismissed with a wave of her hand, and they will scurry out, not turning their back to the Queen, but kind of retreating in a very submissive manner. And they will, along with the guy that escorted you up here, will leave the room and bowing and closing the door behind them.
Camilla makes her way across, as soon as the door is closed, she makes her way across the room in a very stiff military way that you're used to, accustomed to the way that Camilla walks. And then as soon as she gets close enough, she just sort of does a flourish, a performance flourish, where she spreads her arm out, gracefully dips down onto one knee, and goes into a very low kneeled bow, somewhere sort of between at the end of the couch, where more or less where Selina's lower legs and feet are, rather than higher up, as she's still not trying to meet her eye, and she lowers her head, the box spread across on her lap.
The Queen is wearing a long gown with a timeless quality to it. It's not exactly cut in a modern fashion sense, but it does still accentuate her assets without being too risque. And she smiles at Camilla's display of respect and leans forward and places a hand on her shoulder. Please, my friend, relax. Stand.
Thank you, my queen, she says as she stands. And she holds out the letter slightly. I came as soon as I received your letter.
I hoped you would, darling. I knew as soon as I heard rumors of potential trouble within the city that I could count on you. Please, take a seat. She
sits down in a nearby chair, sort of brushing back the blonde hair that's fallen over her face in the bow, and pushes the white box out that's on her lap a little bit, I brought you a gift.
Selena's face brightens and the smile broadens. Ah, you know, I've always loved gifts, darling. Whatever have you brought me?
She puts it down on the coffee table and slides it across.
Selena will pick it up and with the air of a child opening a gift somewhat, she'll open it up, taking her time and admiring the box that it's in before she actually opens it and takes a look at what's inside.
Inside is a perfectly preserved. It's somehow been preserved. There is a way of doing it. White rose with little silver edges. And there's a card in there with a photograph of a bush full of all these types of roses. And it says the Selena Rose. And Camilla looks up and says, I had one bred for you.
The Queen looks at this rose and looks absolutely delighted. She gently takes it out of the box and turns it one way or another, admiring the shape of the petals and the white hue it has, and looks up at Camilla and says, darling, you've always had impeccable taste. It's beautiful. What more can I say? Thank you.
Well, I thought that it was about time that you had a flower named after you.
Well, after all these years, I'm honoured that you would do so. Much has changed in the city since you were last here.
My childer follows me, but she'll be here within a day or two. I didn't want to impede her on our meeting. She's, well, I'm sure you remember.
Yes, a wise choice. The leaving her out of the meeting part, I mean. And she just lets her words hang and says no more.
Camilla dips her head slightly.
I have a child of my own these days. You will meet Sebastian soon enough. There is Camilla would sense that all is not well by the Queen's tone there, but she doesn't elaborate for the moment.
So, what troubles you, my Queen? How can I help?
I shall be making a formal announcement at the Royal Elysium to be held in a little while. I trust you can attend.
Of course.
Yes, I've received some worrying information that I hope can be remedied as soon as possible. But I shall have all the details and shall announce it at the Elysium. I'm hoping it won't pose too much of a problem for the likes of yourself.
Camilla smiles, almost arrogantly.
And the Queen sees this and nods approvingly. She is well aware of what Camilla has achieved in the past.
It's refreshing to be back in England. America has its charms, but they wear thin after a while.
I could never remain there long myself. This city has always called me back, it seems. But there are many new faces in court that I'm sure you will no doubt meet in no time.
Mm. Camilla doesn't look very impressed with that. You know well enough that she's not a big fan of change and of new blood, because most people aren't traditional like her. She's of a different, older school.
A slightly kind of mischievous glint appears in the Queen's eye, and she says, "An old friend of yours is still present, however. I'm sure you'll be delighted to be reacquainted with Mr. Peck."
I'm going to make a charisma subterfuge roll. Which I totally fuck up. I'm pretty sure the Queen can beat 2 successes.
Yeah.
Camilla you see that Camilla tries to mask her expression, but there's sort of a darkening. She's not the most expressive person in the world, but there's a darkening around her eyes, and her lips sort of thin a little bit. Mr. Peck. I dare say that he's. I'm not surprised that he's still around.
The Queen nods, not exactly taking pleasure in knowing that Camilla doesn't approve of Mr. Peck, but just watching with interest, let's say. And she says, "Yes, you never did seem to approve of Mr. Peck's methods."
There's something debauched about that fellow.
Quite certainly.
But then that could be said of many of our clan.
Quite.
And if he survives this long and he's a root part of your city, I'm sure he has his particular advantages and talents that are put to good use in service of the Camarilla, and therefore, what am I to be objecting of somebody that's a little bit different to what I am? We're all different after all. Ariana encourages me to, what does she call it? Loosen up. She does sort of like air quotes.
Yes, I have heard the term used. Some of the modern dialect does amuse me. But, I mean, after all, shouldn't we all, and she also does, air quotes, loosen up a little from time to time?
As you know, every decade has its decadence period. I've been known to loosen up a little bit then. But perhaps the time for this decade's party is coming.
I do hope so, darling. One gets awfully bored from time to time. But you know that you and Mr. Peck are able to work very well together, and you know that I rely on both of you for many things. At least I have in the past.
Camilla sort of turns her gaze to the window where the penthouse looks over London. You know, despite all the time that's passed, every time I come here, I still see the fires.
Selena nods slowly. It was a troubling time. One that I hope shall never be repeated. But thanks to your bravery, we came through, and are now stronger than ever. The city owes you a lot, darling.
The city owes me nothing. I serve. I only chose at that time to serve our prince. She looks a little bit sad when she says our prince. She was very, very fond of Morley, as Selena would know. And I serve the Camarilla. That is my only purpose in this life.
And you are to be commended for your loyalty, darling. You know, I've always valued you highly. And I too miss Edmund. He was an asset to the Camarilla and to London. He is still greatly missed. And Camilla would be able to tell that the Queen's words were genuine when she spoke of the former prince.
I've never had such a... We used to enjoy many hours of intellectual debate, political debate. Rarely had the chance to meet such a mind since. But perhaps I will find another conversation fellow among our new members of court.
Oh, they are a varied bunch. I'm sure you will find whatever it is you're looking for amongst them.
Camilla has a slight... not mischievous is the wrong word. It's a deliberate smirk. It has a little bit of the devil in it.
Selena notices the smile and returns it. She encourages the more mischievous side of Camilla.
Yes, Camilla's realised that she's only been here 10 minutes and she's already feeling that she should be up to no good. Which is the effect that Singer often has on her. Bad influence.
Always.
I'm sure that you have many things to prepare for. I've heard rumours of parties going on even at this hour.
Well, London never closes, darling. You know this. Fun can always be found, whatever the hour. You should contact Delilah. She can direct you to all the best places to be seen.
Oh. Who's this Delilah? She sounds intriguing.
Delilah is the most fabulous creature you will ever see. She is just marvelous. Our current harpy, a member of our own clan, and a very, very close friend of mine. I'm sure that you will get along fabulously.
I'm sure we will. After I spend about 3,000 years unpacking Ariana's luggage, I will endeavour to hit the town a little bit, as they say.
Yes, darling. Let your hair down. Have some fun.
Yes, so I'm always told. I will bring her to you in the coming nights so that she can be presented before we have formal court. That's so we don't hog up the proceedings, the long succession of dull introductions that I'm sure you would like to give a miss.
The Queen sighs and nods appreciatively. Yes. The position does have its tedium at times, but it is one we must bear.
Well, I'm going to go and find my new abode and get settled in. And I will. She takes out a card and slides it along. My current telephone number, should your retainers wish to contact me about anything.
Of course. Thank you, darling. And if there is anything you need, don't hesitate to let me know.
She stands up and she bows again. Not in quite a kneel this time, but it's still quite a flourishy bow. Very Toreador-like.
The Queen nods, and just before Camilla goes to sleep, she'd shoot her a friendly wink. You know, she's happy that to have a familiar face back in the city, and she's always felt a certain sense of safety isn't the right word, because she's very well able to take care of herself, but a certain security when Camilla's around.
Camilla smiles, and she does cast a glance upward, up the dress, as she bows. Trying not to make it obvious, but I assume that the Queen's got very, very high perception skills.
Yeah, Selena would notice and just have a little kind of secret smile to herself. She likes to know that her beauty is still appreciated.
And then once she is finished bowing, she will back her way out of the room. She walks backwards, never turning her back on the Queen, until she opens the door and goes out, and she turns when she gets into the corridor, and saying, not particularly to anyone, but only to herself and perhaps in the earshot of some ghouls that may be walking by, she just says, well, this is certainly going to be interesting.
And I think that is where we will end our scene. Thank you, Play, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching.